to the left side, and then all of a sudden we started to abandon it. And like I said, there is some inconsistent.
How are they going to approach this game? How are they going to beat this Florida State team?
Well, we're going to break you guys.
Okay, that's it. The show's over.
In the story, we're going to break you guys. Look, and I'm joking, but it's true.
Lord, the climb continues, KB. Oh my God!
I am sweating.
Look at my heart. Look.
You know what? Yeah, I have so much to say.
All right, welcome back to Seminole Sideline 365. I am KB, and with me, as always, is the old man. How is it going? How is your day going?
Well, the week's been busy. I mean, the week has been very, very busy. I've been using a product called Shark Bite. Have you ever heard of the Shark Bite?
I don't think so. What is Shark Bite?
It's if you have a problem, a leak with your shutoff valve, like on your toilet or on your sinks or stuff like that. And I'm renovating my guest bathroom on my own. Okay, on my own. And I had to change out. Well, one of the, and we're not sponsored by them. I wish the hell we were.
We're definitely not sponsored by.
Our sponsor tonight is Shark Bite Plumbing Products. Hey, if you have plumbing needs, go to Shark Bite. No, they're not. But I've been using their connectors. Now, connections have come a long way. You used to have to bring out a plumber. He'd charge you, in the old days, $100, $200. Now they want to charge you about $700 or more to come out. And they some of them use these. Some swear by them. Some swear at them. But they're easy home, do-it-yourself connectors. Okay, yeah. And I've got two of them on. I've been checking them for 48 hours, and there's no leaks. So there you go. The only water I have tonight is in this glass right here. Thank God. But it does, Well, yeah, you got to have confidence, right? You practice. I bought some pipe. I had an extra Shark Bite. I practiced. If you'll play like you practice. There you go. And then I found out that my main house valve that shuts everything off, which you shut off to put these on, there's a leak. The valve there is kind of a leak, so I had to do the repair with the Shark Bite with a little bit of water running.
A lot of water issues in that home.
No, with the Shark, the house is for sale. The Shark Bite, you can do it with water flowing. So here's something you should have in your house, if nothing else. If something fails, they make these little caps that you can push right on there. If you have to cut a pipe off, you can just push it on, and that's going to take care of it until you figure out what the hell you're going to do.
Yeah.
But you can do it with water on. If you're trying to cement pipe on with I use CPVC. You can't do it when it's wet. You can't put the glue on. You can't put the primer on. I could go on for an hour, but we're not here for that. Yeah. But right. we have success so far, and hope to have this bathroom done. I don't know. I take my time.
All right.
But I have an extra bathroom, so the master. So don't get both knees operated on the same time. Do one, and then do the other.
I kind of disagree with
that. No, that's what I do with bathroom. That's what I do with bathrooms.
When my dog had ACL injuries, I said the doctor gave us the choice. You could get one done, then the other, or get them both done at the same time. Well, I said it's going to be a pain in the ass either way. Let's just rip them both, get them both done. And we'll deal with it while I'll have to carry around, but it'll be better.
Did you ask Bowden how she felt about it?
It was no, I was paying the bill, so I got the.
It was a ACC commissioner.
Yeah, of course, she tore her ACLs during the winter, so that was a great time. Yeah. But she's good to go.
She had to rehab. Can she run the football now?
She can. She is good to go. She's back in the dog park.
But I bet you get nervous when she jumps down from something.
No, she doesn't have ACLs anymore, so she's
Oh!
whatever they call whatever a dog equivalent ACL is. So we didn't do a rebuild. She didn't get built back like Trey Benson, but she is still she's not as quick anymore. But
What's her 40 time?
Not as quick as Trey Benson.
Where's Bowden? You should bring Bowden up. Show everybody Bowden. I know you don't like to exploit your animals, but she can run a little faster than Gus, right? Gus is more of a D lineman, right?
Yes, he's a big boy. He's a big boy.
He puts the brakes on. He can hold that middle.
Yes, exactly. So,
and I'll tell you what, they get the respect from the other dogs in your neighborhood, I bet, right?
They do.
They see those two coming, everybody scatters.
They get some looks. But tonight we have a lot to go over. So the schedule tonight is we're going to talk about some mixed reports. So it's post spring, right? So the stories are coming out. There's some rankings. We all have to take them with a grain of salt. But there's some media reports that are projecting Florida State.
Let's start. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let's start.
Get the schedule out. What we're
8-9 days ago, seriously, the Tallahassee storm really affected a lot of people. I mean, there's a storm going through that direction tonight, and we had some of those storms all week. We hadn't had any rain. We hadn't had any rain here, at least in Central Florida, for many, many days. Everything was drying up. Okay, everything was drying up, and now this week we've had rain like 3 days a week. My new lawn guy, the other guy I fired because now he got arrested, I heard. Okay. And so my new lawn guy, he can't even get here to cut the grass. There's been so much rain. So, hey, nice to see you, Mr. McMillan. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kate.
But yeah, we definitely want to. Obviously, I don't live in the state, but you were there. You heard the news, and you are tuned into it. So we definitely want to extend our condolences to everyone who, there was a couple of people died, but obviously the devastation and people.
Yeah, there was power outages, a lot of damage, destruction.
Absolutely. So
tornadoes, bad storms.
That time of year. So definitely stay safe and want to extend our
thoughts are still with you guys out there.
Absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers for a quick recovery. I know there was the FSU circus. Okay, I believe you've been to that, right? You've been to the circus.
A while ago. Yeah.
The circus has been there. I don't want to put a date, but it's been there since the 60s because I went there as a kid. I was there as a kid at that circus. It destroyed the circus tent, destroyed a lot of their equipment, and that's tough, And it wasn't very nice that some gator trolls were out there throwing around. Well, I guess all the clowns are out running loose now. Hey, screw you, Gator Man.
Don't even worry about them.
Whoever that was, I'm not worried about them. But when you have destruction and death and damage, it's about everybody pulling together. The baseball stadium was affected. Yeah. Anything outdoor definitely has to be checked and looked at. And my understanding is today, you can see the circus right there.
Yeah, Cinefunk on Twitter he had this footage. So
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the baseball stadium was affected, and they put up some temporary fencing because there's a game going on right now at Hauser Field.
Yeah.
Hauser Stadium. Yeah.
So take prayers out to them, and we'll move on. What else we're going to talk tonight, like I said, is post-spring rankings, where we think Florida State stands and what the media is saying about where Florida State stands and where they are projecting things. Once again, it's way too early, but it's worth discussing. It's interesting where we think position groups land and what people are saying, and did Florida State get better? We've had a couple more transfers come in, some leave. Not as much movement as I thought there would happen, but we want to talk about those and how that affects Florida State, and what other questions we have for the team and what questions you may have for the team. So feel free to chime those in as we're talking. And then other college football news, right? It's ACC media week, right? And guys are talking. Dabo Sweeney's got some comments out there, which I think are funny. So we'll talk about those. UNC has said a couple of things about where they stand in this whole ACC realignment, which I think is interesting. And then as time permits, we'll do some rapid fire questions about Doak Stadium renovations, the Ireland game, all kinds of stuff. So we'll go through that. But KB,
we understand a lot of viewers may be tied up on other channels tonight, especially on Caitlin Clark's debut
I was
in
watching a little.
Indianapolis
I was watching a little bit.
live. And she's the savior of the women's NBA, but she is a hell of a player. I don't watch that stuff, but she is a hell of a player. I'll give her that.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit before I got on, so it got me watching it, and I don't think I've ever watched the WNBA game.
What channel were you watching?
It was on Prime. It was on Prime Video.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's why I was watching it, because I was like, oh, I can actually watch it.
Well, actually, I have discovered a hell of a lot of other different channels and streaming, because I stream, obviously, because I disconnected my YouTube TV until football season starts up. But, man, there's all kind of channels, and Pluto TV's pretty damn good.
They got the Bar Rescue channel on Pluto TV.
The what?
The Bar Rescue channel, 24 hours.
Oh, there's all kind of stuff. There's great movies, but I've discovered all kind of streaming apps out there. Yeah. I don't really miss YouTube TV. I don't miss $80 a month. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into it. Enough chit chat. So you might have seen the screen, the thumbnail we had, and what that was teasing. But what that kind of what I was leveraging there was essentially an article based out of CBS Sports and kind of what their projection was for the playoff rankings and their post-spring rankings out of spring football, and those came out. And what that was projecting was Florida State not even being in the top 15 of college football coming out of spring practices, spring scrimmages, and now total evaluation of rosters. And if you see here, God, there's ads everywhere on the internet, and I hate it. But
especially when they're not paying us to put them up.
God, I hate the internet. But as you can see here, Florida State doesn't even rank in the top 15, and they barely make the top 20, just slated at number 20 here. And, that kind of surprise. You have Florida State behind Kansas State, Washington, even Miami, they have us ranked behind. And I think when you perceive what you hear from, and I truthfully don't listen to a lot of the other media within Florida State. I don't have time to. I have time to.
I listen to a lot of stuff.
I don't
care
see
a lot of stuff.
Because I like to come into this show just with my own perception, my own opinions, and I don't want them.
That's the fan perspective.
And but I think when I do and I see stuff on Twitter, I think the general perception is that this team isn't going to miss the mark from what it did last year. And I think a lot of the fan expectations is that we're going to pick up where we had left off last year. So I think most people will be surprised when you see Florida State at number 20 on this ranking list. And then when you look at the seeding, that would infer that Florida State does not make the playoff next year. And that's what CBS is projecting in these rankings, is that Clemson wins the ACC. They get the number 4 seed with that automatic bid. And Florida State doesn't even get the at-large bid. You have those filled out by the likes of, some at-large bids, I believe, of Penn State, Missouri, Ole Miss. Like we've talked about in past shows, ACC is in the 2 big conference as comprised. The ACC no longer is, as you saw last year, Florida State didn't get in as being an undefeated school. This team in an expanded playoff, this conference is not getting 2 bids, even with an expanded playoff. They didn't even get 1 last year with an undefeated team in Florida State. So you have to win or you're not in. That should be the mantra. You don't win, you're not in. Even if you mean
win the championship, ACC.
Yeah,
championship.
If you don't win,
that's it. One team in.
Yeah, if you don't win the ACC, you're not in. Even if you have a stellar record, even if you beat the brakes off of Clemson but lose the ACC record, if you don't win that championship game, you are not getting in to the college football playoff. I don't care who else you beat, because it's not happening. And this seeding projects that, right? They only have Clemson.
But they don't give a basis. They just put teams against numbers. They never say why, right?
Well, the article does go into some of the, they talk about the top of Group of 5 champion, Boise State, and then how. So you have to go more into this, and we can link this in it. And you can go to CBS, and you can. This was just posted a week or so ago, and you can read into it. So they get into it, but this is based on their rankings that they give here, and how Ole Miss, Alabama. Look at all the schools that the Big Ten and the SEC have in the top 15, and I don't necessarily disagree with this. This has one school in the ACC in the top 15, which is Clemson. they don't see any SEC schools outside. If you count Notre Dame, I don't count Notre Dame as an ACC school. They're independent, right? They play an ACC schedule, but they don't play for the they don't count. So they only have Clemson as the only ACC school within the top 15, and then in the top 20 there's only 3. So they are not projecting the ACC to be a power conference, and I don't think I can necessarily disagree with that. There's not the ACC. I don't think has great quarterbacks this year compared to last year. There's a lot of transfers coming in, a lot of new quarterbacks coming in, and I don't think And as we all argue, this is the reason why Florida State wants to get out of the ACC, right? Because it's not perceived as a power conference, and 2, the talents. We don't feel it's a power conference, right? The revenue's not there. People don't want to play in it anymore, and that's why Clemson and Florida State are trying to do whatever they can to get out of this conference, because the power is now in the Big Ten and the SEC. That's why the Pac-12 has dissolved, and that's where all the power is right now. So it's hard for me to argue with this. The only thing I could argue with is not how many bids does each conference get. It's not the arguing that ACC is a one bid school, because I 100% agree the ACC is only going to get one bid. I've been saying that for months. It's arguing, is Florida State good enough to beat Clemson? And I think, once again, that's the biggest game on Florida State's schedule this year. It's not Miami. And we could argue, is it Miami? Is it Florida? Is it da-da-da? It's the Clemson game. That game.
And that's a home game at Doak.
It's going to make or break your season, as it always does, in my opinion. That is the barometer for how good this team is.
And it's going to be DJU against his former team.
100%. And this is going to be old school versus new school. Clemson, who has not brought in a transfer once again for the entire year, against,
and there's a reason. Dabo said that reason.
And this is I want to pull up the quote from what Dabo said. His quote was, he said there's nobody in the transfer portal that was good enough to play on Clemson's roster. This is his most recent quote, I believe.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I mean, it's pretty simple. Most of the guys in the portal aren't good enough to play for us. They just reality of it.
And that's not going to help him when he wants to get guys out of the portal either.
So this is what it is. It was last year in Clemson's mind, and in our rivals' mind, was last year just a fluke for Florida State? I'm not saying that. That's what they're thinking. That it's a one-off. Florida State's not back. Da-da-da. In the Clemson fans' minds, no. Clemson's not off their benchmark. They had a bad year. They're rebuilding. Da-da-da. They're going to knock us off. And it's Dabo's mentality. He can build through high school. He doesn't have to build through the portal. Second year, no new portal players. Strictly through development through high school. And he's saying it. He's like, we don't need to be Florida State. We don't need those guys that Florida State picked out of the portal. They aren't good enough to play at Clemson. And this is taking a shot, I believe, directly at Florida State for how they play.
Well, that should be bulletin board. 100%. That should be bulletin board information whenever Coach Norvell wants to put it up there. Whether he wants to put it up during the Clemson game practices or put it up at the beginning of the season, that's motivation. You don't think this is a shot at
DJU? You don't think this is a shot at
DJU? Of course it is.
QB1 at Florida State saying that guy's not good enough to play for. I feel like this is absolutely a veiled shot.
I'm waiting for DJU's dad to push something out, but I don't think he will. I don't think he will push something out. But it's not just a shot at DJU. It's a shot at every portal guy that came in from the portal at Florida State and other teams in the ACC and nationally. Yep. He's saying nobody in the portal this time around, or ever, I guess, because he never takes anybody, they're not good enough. They're not as good as the high school guys we get. He's full of shit, okay? And he didn't do so well last year. This is going to be a pivotal season for him. And as you said, KB, it sets up an interesting set of dynamics when they come to town to play Florida State. It's non-portal versus portal, and everything could be on the line, even though it's in the middle of the season. The date, even though it'll be in the middle of the season. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And like you said, it always feels like the kind of the schedule and the conference comes down to these two and how they play. But like you said, this game's on October 5th, so it is Florida State should. I hate to say this, should cruise to this game if they are where they think they are.
I don't know about cruise. I don't know about cruise, but I think they should win the game.
Yeah, exactly. You should win out to this game. You should be undefeated. If you are going to be competing for a playoff spot, you should be undefeated going to this game. You may be challenged here and there, but you shouldn't be on the upset alert in any of the games leading up to October 5th hosting Clemson. And this is going to be your first, I think, gut check game. This will be your first gut check game, in my opinion. In that, are you who you think you are, and can you go out and then battle at Notre Dame, battle at Miami, battle against Florida? Florida's going to be beaten the hell up by then with their schedule. But
with their new defensive back, did he sign there? There was something.
Camardi, McLain.
Yeah, I don't even want to spend any time on him because I think he's overhyped. I think he's going to have problems. And if he plays and Cam Davis is going to truck him, he looks like he needs to get into the gym and work out. You can't even see him in the pictures.
Okay. But once again, CBS doesn't believe in this Florida State team based on their top 25 rankings. Based on top 25 rankings where they see Miami better than Florida State. They see Clemson better than Florida State. And why would that? Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Why do you believe they see Miami and Clemson better than Florida State?
Well, first of all, I don't see them. I see them as competitors. I don't see them as better. And I'm not saying that because I'm a longtime FSU fan. Here's one thing where there is a little lack of confidence. And as it wasn't for me, I go around the dial. I look at a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. This is from a well-respected guy in the business who has a very well-viewed show on FSU stuff. And I won't get into his name. It's really not necessary. But he is well-respected. He does a good job. He does not see DJU as a top pick in the NFL next year.
Oh, I agree.
He didn't rip DJU. He just said, I do not see him going in the first 4 to 5 rounds. Okay, he doesn't put him now.
Yeah,
now
I don't think you need him to though.
No, but what I'm saying is I don't know if a statement like that. This guy's pretty well respected. Whether or not something like that could start to influence what people think if he doesn't have a great season. If he has a mediocre season, does Florida State have enough weapons around him and on defense, obviously, to beat everybody on that schedule, which I think is beatable, except Miami and Clemson, which I don't see Clemson all of a sudden. They've had this big resurrection from the ashes, or Miami, a big resurrection because quarterback Cam Ward has moved in.
Yeah.
I don't see how that could be. If Florida State were to lose to both those teams, it would be disappointing. I mean, there would be a severe disappointment in our fan base and what the hell is going on, I believe.
So I'll agree. To your point about the quarterback position, I agree with you. I don't know if DJU is going to go through the season and be a top 4 round pick. I don't think he needs to be. I think he can play very well for this team and go and not even go like I think there's a lot of guys that can go through college and not necessarily look at Logan Thomas at Virginia Tech, and they turned him into a tight end in the NFL, right? Because it just didn't work. He was a big guy, could throw the ball, could sling the ball, be a very, very good quarterback in the college level. And they ended up turning him. He became a pretty good tight end at the next level, right? It just didn't work. He just was, and that was how it shifted for him. I think DJU has all the tools to be a very, very, very good quarterback. We've seen that.
I do too.
And I don't think being a first rounder, look at Caleb Williams last year. He was a first round pick, top pick, and they were 7-5. They did not have a great season, right? So I don't think draft round determines how good your college season is, and I think
I don't think DJU has to put this team on his back. I don't think he comes
that's
in.
Where we'll fail. That's where we will fail. we need to be able to run the ball this year.
He needs to be the point guard on this team and just distribute the ball across to all the other skilled players. And if we have the defense that's been hyped up to be great, we should be fine. We should be fine. You get Clemson at home at the Doak. It'll be packed full of Florida State people. It's likely to be, it's going to be a TV game. It's going to be full attendance, and then you get Miami down there. I mean, we'll have a lot of fans down there. So that's almost like a neutral site down there for Florida State, So I don't, and if DJU stays healthy, distributes the football around with all the other skilled players, I think we're going to be fine. I don't think, but I agree with you, KB. There can be really no missteps not winning the ACC championship. If you don't win the ACC championship or you lose in the ACC championship game, close or whatever, you're not going to probably get a playoff spot. No. Period.
And I don't think, and I think to your point, we do not want DJ to have to carry this team on his back offensively.
No,
this needs to be a very, in my mind, a run dominated or run first type of offense. We need the running backs we need the team to be able to run and win the game.
The football has always been that way.
Well,
try to establish the run game, take the pressure off your quarterback, and DJ is good about, running the ball a little bit himself,
But the reason I say that is because you have running backs, you have experienced running backs. You have Toafili, you have a stable quality running back. You also return a lot of offensive linemen who you would hope can make a step forward. I do not think that, but you would hope with development, the hype around Atkins, that your offensive line would make a step forward and dominate the offensive line.
Well, it's going to come down.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
And running backs would be able to dominate the offensive line, and running backs would be able to press that and expose those holes. Your receiver room, in my opinion, with the news that Destin Hill is going to be out the entire year, I think you have concerns around what your receiver room is going to look like. They failed to bring in another guy, which I think is a mistake, who has competent experience around him. I mean,
when you say failed, maybe they didn't go after a guy. You can't fail if you didn't go after somebody,
which I think is a mistake. And I've said that. I think it's a very big mistake not to bring in a guy with experience to match with a mature quarterback like DJ, because you lost. That's where most of you lost, and we've talked about this. You lost your 3 prime playmaker. You lost your best tight end, your top tight end. You lost your and your top 2 receivers, along with your top running back. But your running back room, you still have a leader back there in Toafili, who's coming back.
I'm not.
But the only guy returning receiver is Douglas, and he gets injured a lot. Your receiver room is green. These guys have not shown consistently that they can play. And then they're backed up by freshmen, sophomores who have not shown that they can play or ready to step up yet.
But Destin Hill had, what was his production last
But once
season?
again, that was one. But that just layers the point. You don't have anyone outside of him, and that's the thing. That just makes it worse.
Well, I don't see Destin Hill as any better or any worse. He didn't have any production.
Exactly.
So
why did they bring anyone in?
It's not like he was going to become our number one receiver.
Exactly, but that even makes it worse. Is that if they liked him and they thought this guy's going to step up, they still didn't bring anyone else in. So they're still relying on younger guys outside Malik Benson, who's an older guy, but still he hasn't broken.
And he's injured. He got injured in the spring game. I haven't heard what's going on with him.
So you're matching an experienced quarterback with a bunch of guys that we're hoping will step up when the time comes. And that's the part that scares me. And I think that's the part that probably scares a lot of media people out there to say, what's going to happen when the game actually starts? Are things going to click? What will happen? You don't have a 1,000-yard receiver on this team that's done it before and shown they can do it.
You don't have the production,
or you don't have a highlight type guy like Keon Coleman, where you knew when he came over, you knew what he was going to do. Like, you didn't have to guess. You saw it on tape what he was going to do from Michigan State. You knew what he was going to do. Johnny Wilson, you had to develop that, but you knew when he came back for his third year.
There's no proven leader in the wide receiver room.
Bell could do when he came over. You knew what Jakeem Bell was going to do.
Right.
You don't necessarily have that outside of maybe Malik Benson, who had some of those flashes, but you don't have anyone else, right? Everyone else outside of Douglas, in my opinion, who's shown that, but he's not always available.
No, he's a slot guy. He's not.
And Jalen Lucas, once again, is more of a better. He's shown flashes on returning, right? He's the return man
and
for
running
Big
the
Ten.
football and
so,
running the football out of the backfield.
And that's my biggest concern. And that's probably, I think, where people on the media side see concerns where on the offensive end, is it going to click? And on the defensive side, is it, I think their concerns may be in that linebacking room. And now the good thing is you did get Cam Riley from Auburn, which I think is a good pickup.
Good pickup.
They made it, and they got a guy, a piece,
and he's
another
got production.
Production and veteran experience. He played 4 years at Auburn.
Yeah.
Got production. Is
he's a 1 year guy.
Big guy now, bigger guy.
And he's going to start.
He's going to start or rotate.
Or he's going to be one of the top 3 guys in there. Yeah,
he can.
Yeah,
play the run, he can play the pass.
Right. Blake Nicholson is not ready to be an every down linebacker. Okay, I think Blake Nicholson has great potential, but he hasn't had that much playing experience when the games are on the line. Okay, so you got DJ Lundy, and then you've got the new guy you just mentioned coming Cam Riley. That guy's got production. Yeah. I mean, this is like a business, okay? When you hire people, are you hiring someone fresh out of college that has no performance, or you're hiring guys that have done it, who have worked it in the trenches? Cam Riley's one of those guys. Yeah. So they have tried to cement up that linebacker room, and the linebacker room, like the wide receiver room, are the 2 weakest points on this team, okay? Those are the 2 weakest points.
But the difference is they went out and got somebody, in my opinion, for the linebacker room, and they filled it. In the receiver room, I don't understand. They must have a lot of damn faith, and it's either one or two things. They either did not want, and they went out. And I'm not to say that they didn't go out, because they did. They went out and got Malik Benson, and they went out and got Jalen Lucas, but they got younger guys. So was it? They
could have lost some battles out there, but you're not going to hear that.
Well, sometimes you hear it. Sometimes guys transfers to the top, they do the top 4.
Oh, of course.
Stuff like that. So it was, for me, it's either did Florida State determine that they wanted to go young in the transfer portal and push the younger guys to compete more, and didn't want to cause a domino effect where guys transfer out? Did they not want to rock a ship? And because that room was already young, right? And we talked about, with Destin Hill, there was already, and what's his name? So you had a bunch of guys in there already that
Hakeem Williams.
Exactly. So did you not want to bring a guy in that was going to rock the ship? You brought in Jalen Brown from LSU. Once again, high potential guy, young guy, big upside. You brought in Malik Benson, who's got a lot of potential, and you also brought in a veteran guys, right? You had already a stable of guys, but that's the thing. You brought in those 2 transfers, Jalen Brown, Malik Benson, but should you have brought that 1,000-yard receiver? I think the last guy left in the portal right now, I'm forgetting his name. He's a receiver, but he has, I think, over 1,400 yards available on him. I'm like, Florida State wasn't in his top 4. I think Florida and Miami are in his top 4. I'm like, are they going to regret not going for a 6'2", 6'3" guy that has 1,400 yards under his belt that has done it before? And I know I'm harping on this, but
well, no,
the
boat has a potential big leak, and you're talking to it. I mean, there's nothing to.
And it scares me, because remember 2 or 3 years ago, we were kind of in that same situation where we were on Dugan's ass, we were on Coach Dugan's ass, because we were like, where are the receivers? Why don't we have these guys that are getting drafted? And and they went out in the portal, and they got, and to his credit, he went out to the portal and developed Johnny Wilson, and Amarion Cooper came around. Not Amarion Cooper. What's his name? I forgot his name, but he got Johnny Wilson out of the portal, saw the potential, developed it. I give him credit for that. He made that work. And then he went out and he got Keon Coleman. We knew what he could do. Go on and got Jaheim Bell, worked him, and made him work in the system. And we saw we knew what he could do.
Yeah, we haven't replaced that production as the bottom line. And
we didn't get that playmaker. And
it scares us. It scares us a little bit.
But maybe Jalen, but maybe, to your point, maybe the guys that they did pick out, they plucked out. Maybe Jalen Brown's ready to go.
Malik Benson.
I think Malik Benson from the spring game, he should, if he's not hurt.
If
to your
he's
point.
not hurt, but you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything, and of course the steady full-time media guys that cover it, they don't get any answers. They don't ask. They don't get any rumors. They're afraid to publish anything, so we won't know. We won't know. That's Mike Norvell's policy.
But to your point before, you brought up, and you brought this up before, we need these guys we recruited in-house, and the Dabo Swinney mythology of things. We need these high-rated recruit guys we've recruited, Hakeem Williams,
to be developed.
They need to be developed and actually step up. These are the years now to year 2, 3. They need to step up and show why they were highly recruited.
Well, you got Kentron. You got you got Deuce Spann. We haven't even talked about him. What's his role on this football team?
Yeah,
a gadget guy. He's a gadget guy.
I don't know.
He returns kicks. He's not going to do punts.
I wouldn't even talk about him at this point.
No. But what I'm saying is, you're talking about Hakeem Williams. Jacobs left, right? Vandross.
Yeah,
Jacobs.
he's gone.
He left. So they've got a bunch of freshmen. I'm not going to go through the names. It is weak there. I think you've identified them as the weakest point, and LB linebackers is also weak. So that's where we are.
But this is the year. Jalen Brown, especially Hakeem Williams. Yeah. This is your second year. You need to live up. This is where, if we want to hit our potential, those guys have to hit their mark on where they were rated, right? That's where I see. That's where people, the media especially, is like, this is where we see the hole there. And like you said on the defensive linebacking core, where you had to replace star bodies and Tatum and Deloach, those guys have to step up who you brought in, and we have to see potential there. So that is that, and that's why I think they see Florida State projected as taking a step back from last year, because you lost a lot, and we know that you lost 10 guys to the draft.
I think as the roster stands right now, that we can hold our own against Miami and Clemson and win the ACC. Okay,
you can absolutely. I'm
not saying
you can absolutely compete with them.
No, we can compete. So I'm saying I believe it can happen, and I'm pretty conservative when I talk about this team, and I can be hard on this team.
Yeah.
But I believe that if we can get play out of those linebackers and wide receivers, and we can move on, we need to move on. We'll be all right. Okay, we'll be all right. I don't think Clemson's that superior. I don't think Miami is that superior, and so on. But I agree with you. The bottom line is you got to win the ACC championship, or your chances of getting into the playoffs is difficult.
Absolutely. And I'll say this.
Not at all. So.
And I'll say this. I don't think your season begins until October 5th. If you're winning, I don't think you'll know who this team is. If you're undefeated, your team, you will not know what this team looks like until October 5th against Clemson, because that's when you kick off Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the game I don't think anyone's thinking about. You have to go to South Bend.
That's not easy.
Against Notre Dame. That's not going to be an easy game. That is not going to be on the road. I don't care what Notre Dame looks like. I don't care who they have at quarterback. It's not. That is not going to be an easy game on the road.
However, if you lose that game, you could still win the ACC championship.
Absolutely. But that is not going to be an easy game. I think that back half of the season is going to the front half of the season is so much different than the back half of that season schedule wise. Is that you could be potentially playing 3 top 20 teams the back half of the year, or sort of the back half in October on. You could be playing 3 top 20, 3 top 15 teams depending on how those teams play. So just something to keep in mind.
Well, we'll be able to see how these 2 weaker areas develop in the first 3 or 4 games.
Absolutely.
Our guys making catches. Our guys getting separation.
Yes, absolutely.
Is DJ running for his life because the offensive line can't hold up?
Exactly.
We're gonna know a lot more before we get to that game.
100%. So those are the reasons why we think they may be out or being projected out, but I think we'll learn as the season goes on, and especially October 5th. And we talked about our post-spring questions and what our concerns are. And but a couple of notes on those things, on who they brought in. There were some late transfers that came in the door. And one of those was Amarion Cooper's back. So Amarion Cooper is coming back from Colorado. He had his stay from Colorado. He joins he joins.
He knows the system,
which I think is good. It's definitely a good.
It adds depth. It adds depth to the DB room, which I think is already pretty talented. So I think, you he was a good guy.
Yes.
He was not a locker room problem. So
No.
congratulations. Welcome back.
Yeah, he doesn't have to learn the playbook again, like you said. It's
No.
just experience. If a guy gets hurt, it wasn't a great Colorado defense last year. Let's not pretend like it was, but he got snaps. He was playing for them. His
production was a little bit
This was
erratic.
what they'll be remembered for last year, and this is how I think they'll use him again this year. This was against Caleb Williams at USC.
Yeah.
He's got speed. We know what he can do. You know how you can use him, and this is how Adam Fuller, I think, will use him at Florida State.
Right.
Is take him from the corner and blitz the quarterback.
Corner blitz.
And this is how they can use him like this. So yeah, welcome back, Amarion. We'll use you. We'll use your experience, and it'll be good to have another leader in that young room, because you brought a lot of the young guys in to that room who have a lot of talent. So it'll be good to have you back here.
Yeah.
So welcome back. And then obviously we talked about Cam Riley. So a good veteran experience in the linebacker room, which is a good addition, which Florida State needed. So we don't need to rehash that anymore. But those were the two major additions. We didn't lose, you didn't lose a whole lot either. I thought there would be a lot of, I honestly, I don't know what the scholarship count is, to be honest with you. You brought in two more guys. You didn't lose a whole lot more to the portal. So if anyone knows out there what the scholarship count is, please let me know. Like you mentioned, we lost Darius Jacobs. He's going to South Carolina. So we wish him well there. As everyone knows, Florida State and South Carolina seem to trade a lot of players. So there's definitely a pipeline between the schools right now, but we wish him well. And I think he has a lot of talent. Greedy Vance went to South Carolina, or sorry, not South Carolina, USC, California. So I thought that was an interesting pick for him. I didn't think he would go out there, but they struggled last year defensively, and I thought he would stay more towards Louisiana and this area, but good for him. That's a trip for him. And then guys like Joshua Burrell are still looking for places to land, but we wish him well. So, yeah, no other major losses, which is a little bit surprising. I thought we'd lose a little bit more. But yeah, it's kind of evened out. So we'll see once the fall comes around. Of course, graduate transfers can leave at any time. Portal's kind of always open for them, but no other major news there. So if anyone knows what the scholarship count's at right now, please let us know in the chat. Other news. So we'll go kind of spitfire here on some other topics. ACC meetings and thoughts on lawsuit. Old man, you're kind of the expert on that. I didn't get to watch any of the major things around that this week. What are your initial thoughts? Any summary on that that you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, just a few words, because there's a lot of topics I'd like to hit tonight. I don't think you learn much from what I see across media, and I'll be surprised. The thing I was most interested in, obviously, is when ACC commish Jim Phillips took the press on, at the end of the meetings, because they're closed door meetings. Media guys aren't in the closed doors, so you don't get anything out of there unless something comes out leaked. But at the end of all the meetings, he met with the press, and the Florida State media had one guy there from probably the largest media group that Florida State fans listen to, and as portrayed by the beat reporter, he said, well, no one's asked questions, so I asked a question about ESPN. I listened to it. I thought it was a softball question. Mm-hmm. Basically, the question was something like, yes, Commissioner Phillips, do we still have a contract with ESPN? And I was like, what? I didn't think it was hard hitting. There was no follow-up question. And Phillips said, yeah, we have a contract with them through 2036. That was the answer. Is that something we didn't know? There was nothing, and there was no follow-up. I mean, it was like, blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was kind of a disappointing press conference. Yeah. I didn't think FSU media guy. I thought there was only one FSU media guy there that I heard about, that I've seen. I could be wrong. So that was a little disappointing. The other thing that came up is Jim Phillips is not an aggressive type commissioner, in my opinion. He keeps talking about almost He almost wants to go back to the old days when none of this shit existed, that there was no NIL and, everybody was kind of equal and it's all about student athletes. He must say that 100 times. It's about the student athlete experience. I get that. It's about the student athlete experience. That's kind of old time talk. What it now is about is the student athlete business experience. Yep. Okay, it really is, especially for football. Let's face it, football and baseball and men's basketball, it's a business in that area. Because some of the other sports, you like to win, but he's pointing out, well, the ACC won championship in table tennis, and we won championship in track and field, and he's trying to make everybody feel good about the ACC. The problem is, and no one from the press said it the way I'm saying it, is, do you understand, Mr. Commish, there's a big difference in money, TV revenues, which is going to affect how teams compete. Now, Wake Forest may not worry about it, but Florida State, who was the bad guy when they came out and said, we can't compete given this money, which today, all of a sudden, Clemson's on board, UNC seems to be jumping out a little bit, Miami's making some rumbles. The bottom line is this, it's frickin' business. I almost said a bad word. It's frickin' business, Mr. Commissioner, and you know that, and you're not willing to talk about that in this regard. This is big money. This is what it is. And for student athletes in the football environment, they want to know, where can I go to get developed? Where can I go to get developed so I can go to the next level and get paid? And if I may not get there, I want to get paid now just in case as a safety blanket. And Florida State has come out from the beginning when they brought the suit, and even before that at the Board of Trustees, I'll remember that meeting forever, where they said, we cannot compete the way we want to have a football program of excellence at this level with these differentials in the money. And he even said that. He goes, well, if it's just all about the money. And I said to myself, watching this, it's out there on YouTube. Yeah. He goes, well, if it's just about the money. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's money and the student athlete experience, because you're not going to be having the student athletes you want if you don't focus on the money piece as well. Okay. Yeah. He's throwing out graduation rates. I get that. Okay. Yeah. And I understand that. And that's important because football's not forever. Yeah. But he is almost like dismissing the business side of this. Why do you think Florida State is renovating their stadium? That's a business decision about a fan experience, but it's going to cost the fans more money for that experience. Let me say this. Netflix just paid for, I think it's 3 games on Christmas Day this coming year. Now, I could have that wrong, but they paid for 3 games. They paid the NFL $100 million for 3 games. It's that football is so much business now, from the collegiate level, which I've always called NFL minor leagues, to the pro level. So for him to just kind of soft toe, eggshell around this thing, instead of come out and say, I get what they're saying. I get it. We're trying to fix it, but I don't know if we can fix it to meet their demands. He's just not there. Okay. Yeah. And let me say this. I'm going to say it, and then I'll shut up. Florida State is leaving the ACC. You guys can read on X and watch all you want from the other shows. They're going to leave because athletic director Mike Alford's legacy at Florida State is tied to a successful transfer out of the ACC and finding a new home in a Power 2 conference because of the goals he has set and that the Board of Trustees has set. Their whole legacy is tied to that, and it will happen. Well, it's going to happen. I don't know the date. It may cost us more money than we want to pay, but it's going to happen. There's no coming back. The boat has left the dock. And even if the court, because Florida State can announce they're going to leave, and they could pay huge sums of money, but they can still leave.
I'm tired of talking about it until it actually happens. We can keep saying
I know.
They're going to leave. They fucking need to just leave.
They're going to do it. They're going
I know
to
we
do
can
it.
keep saying that, but it doesn't until it happens. It doesn't. It's not real.
Okay.
But I think Jimbo Fisher said best about what the state of the ACC actually is. He said in the quote,
When did he say this?
He said college sports is the most unfair thing we do, and he believes conferences such as the ACC, Big 12, and others are becoming glorified junior colleges.
Well, no, he's right.
I actually agree with him.
But he is right. This is going to be a tier down system.
Yes. And
There'll
those
be
schools,
tier 1,
and
tier 2. That's right.
The SEC will steal your players like they do from junior college.
You'll be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if Florida State, if they have to remain, and we're not going to stay on this topic too much longer for tonight. If Florida State would have to remain because of a grant of rights, and if they're afraid of that, they can't get out of it or whatever the consequences are, and they stay in the ACC to 2036, I guarantee you one thing, Mike Norvell ain't going to be around, and you will have stepping stone coaches, young coaches coming in, cutting their teeth, hoping to have a couple good years, and then they're going to jump. You don't think Mike Norvell would go to the SEC or the Big Ten?
It would just be a smart business move.
Of course.
Yeah.
Go back and look at the interviews when Texas A&M job was open and he got asked about it. His behavior was not good during the interviews. Saying,
okay, I'm not going to go that far.
I'm just saying. I'm saying.
Okay,
my point is this. This is all business, and Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, doesn't get it. Or if he does, he's just too ballless to even talk about it. That's it.
All right.
Next topic.
The next topic.
Let's go to Dublin.
Going down the list is the Dublin game ticket.
How much are you willing to pay, KB, to go?
How much are they running for right now?
Now, I put out a tweet. Let me say, I put out a tweet. I said, does anybody know where you can buy just single game tickets?
Let's see.
One person, I haven't checked.
Yes, right here. 195 euros.
Where is this at? What site?
On the site.
Ticketmaster?
Yeah.
They finally came out. So that's like probably $230. $240.
Why can I not buy these? Get tickets.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. The normal fan, I'm not going to pay. I wouldn't pay that. Now people say, "Oh, well, the old man."
You're not a true fan.
The old man's not a true fan, or the old man's probably on a tight budget.
Yep.
Hey, screw you. If I wanted to go, I could go, and I could take you, KB, with me, and pay for the whole thing.
Commit right now.
I'm not going to do it. It's the principle.
You don't have.
You know what it is?
You don't have the money.
No, it comes down to.
Yeah, you don't have the money. See,
that's
he doesn't
not true.
have the money.
That's not
Buy
true.
it right now. Put it in your
That's
credit
not
card
true.
right now.
Okay. Well, let's see.
I'm
telling you, it's the principle of the issue of how much are you going to pay? They just said that to watch all the NFL games, how much extra that's going to cost you this year because the business plan. Now you're a businessman. The business plan. They're so scattered about all these other streaming channels and all this. You have to join them all unless you do free trials.
No, that's stupid. That's stupid because no one watches every single game. That's the dumbest thing ever. No one.
Well, I don't know. That
was
on the news. I'm not saying it was dumb.
Yeah, and they exaggerate.
Okay. The bottom line, it's going to cost you more money. So if you want to watch these on Christmas Day, guess what? You're going to have to get into Netflix.
No, who cares? Okay, no. Or I think Sunday ticket should. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
What we're saying is it's going to be an expensive trip to Dublin. An exciting trip. If you can go, have fun. I'm probably going to enjoy it in the privacy of my own living room with my private bath, with my private snack bar on my 70-inch TV in a lounge chair. not bad with my own private parking spot. So it has nothing to do whether you're a true fan or not, because most FSU fans will not be going.
You're not a true
okay.
fan.
They're not going.
You're not a true
Okay.
fan.
They're not going. All right. Because one, they're making probably a good decision, and two, their budgets don't allow it. Okay. So
you said you had enough money. You had enough money.
I got plenty of money.
Right, then pay
I
for
got
us right
plenty
now.
of money. And then
$37
somebody will go, "Hey, you're having to renovate your own bathroom." It's the principle of the issue. I can do it myself. Why can't I do it?
The only part I'm
okay. Let's move on.
The only part I would be pissed about is I don't want to pay $200 to watch them play Georgia Tech. If we were playing like Georgia or Clemson or Miami,
we already played Georgia.
I know, but I would rather, in a regular season game, I would do that in Ireland. I don't want. No offense to Georgia Tech, that's
Georgia
not like a
they're gonna get crushed.
No, they're a better team than they used to be, but it's not like a marquee matchup. It's not like we have some like legacy history against playing Georgia Tech and it comes to Ireland. Like even if we were playing Navy or some like an academy school in Ireland, it'd be.
I'm telling you what, I had thoughts I was just going to take a trip to Ireland and happened to be in town with that, but at $240, $250 a ticket, I wouldn't even do it. It's too much. Where do we cut off ticket prices for games?
Honestly, it
has nothing to do with my loyalty as a fan.
Watch it in a pub in Ireland if you're on vacation, just around there.
I'm gonna,
and watch it with fans outside in a pub in Ireland around there. I think that would be.
I would go to Boo Herb Street. How about that? Oh man, the media was ripping on Herb Street already again. They said he has a fake PTSD dog. The dog will be there. Somebody said that. I didn't say it. Somebody said a fake.
Right, we're moving.
Well, we do know there are fake PTSD dogs out there, right? Or emotional support animals. Somebody had a pig. Had a jacket on, emotional support pig. Give me a break.
All right, next topic: Doak Campbell Stadium renovations. How is that going?
Oh my God, this is not going to be pretty for fans this season.
Season, it's not going to be.
It's not going to be pretty. They're adding a bunch of seats. You saw it in the spring game. Did you see it?
Yeah. Is this Earth Cam? Is this? Oh yeah, this is a live cam right now.
Yeah, is that live?
Yeah, this is live. May 16th.
That's cool.
May 16th.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to
look horrible.
The fan experience is not going to be good in 2024.
No, it's going to be 20,000 less seats, I think, during this season, they said.
Well, that's going to make the reseller tickets much more expensive because I usually go on there.
oh, dude, it's gonna be so much more expensive.
And it's going to be, in the long. Hey, listen, but business is what? Not about now. It is about now, but it's about the future. This is a future investment. Okay, to upgrade the customer fan experience. So we'll see.
Oh, look, this is kind of cool. You can see the progression of the.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What site's that on? Tell people what site's that on.
This is just on the booster site.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, boosters. Yeah.
Look at how many they ripped. I mean, it's not all going to be ripped out. But
I'll tell you what. The people who got their seats ripped out are still not happy. Okay, they're not happy. They're not having a great fan experience. If you had season tickets for 30, 40 years and you lost them, despite them saying, well, you'll get your first choice on what. No. A lot of people were upset. That's just a fan reaction. But, this is progress because Alford did say this is about the fan experience. And that's what you hear in the NFL. That's what you hear in Major League Baseball. That's what you hear in, I don't know if you've seen a hockey game on TV. It's like the WWE. God, there's smoke and there's, light shows. It's cool as shit. Don't get me wrong. It really is cool. But the question is, how much are you willing to pay for the fan experience? Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. Okay.
All right.
Wait a minute. Look at a Dagby. Netflix needs to let people. That ain't gonna happen. No, they're shutting that shit down.
They already shut that down.
They're doing that on all those things like Prime and what are the other one?
They're all doing password sharing crackdowns.
Yeah. Now you can relocate yours if you go to someone's house. You can watch it. But they're cracking down on that shit.
All right. Next topic.
Next topic.
We had.
I love this lightning round. See, I like
Armani
this.
McLain going to UF. Do you think that is going to make them better, worse, or?
I had his card right here.
Apparently, he didn't have any other major offers outside.
Overhyped. Do you see? He's a serious football player is now transferring from his original commitment, and he's still doing these hype photos. Who the shit would do that? Would you do that? I'd be embarrassed to do that.
But the high school recruits put out top 20.
He's not a high school recruit anymore.
But
he went to Colorado, he had a shitty year. Okay, he had no decent production, had a falling out with Sanders, and now he's looking for a new home. And he's going into Florida and getting these hype videos, and he wants to be entertained like he has huge production. If I was a coach, I would never do it. Never. It's disrespectful to the players that you have on your team. This guy needs to hit the weight room. He needs to. In some of the hype
What about
ones,
Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter isn't a big guy.
They say he's 172 pounds. No, Travis Hunter has actual pretty good production on both sides of the ball.
You're talking about weight room. You're talking about weight room.
Travis Hunter
can't stay healthy.
Travis Hunter has been playing. Okay, so McLain, unbelievable.
I'm not going to say he's a bust yet. I think he can still.
He's a bust. Write it down. He will be a bust.
I don't think. I think for UF, it's not a bad gamble. You take him on. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But
UF has nobody. Most of their guys went into the portal.
Exactly.
So
I don't think
so. They're taking a rehab.
Could be gone. That coach could be gone.
Oh, he's going to be gone.
So I don't think it's for him. He's
going to be gone.
It's not.
He's going to be gone. No, it's not. If you're looking to replenish and get some guys on the roster, I heard they were bringing him in as a walk-on. How would that work? How would that work?
Preferred walk-on.
That he had no other offers?
I heard he didn't get any major offers.
Well, you know what? Then he's why wouldn't they give him a scholarship? There must be something wrong with him.
Walk-on. He can earn one.
There must be something wrong with him.
I don't. But once again, I don't know if that's true.
KB, if he was so good with still potential, why would they offer him a spot?
A PWO is earn it. Show us you still have that potential.
Wow. Okay.
Because if
you may be right.
If things were really bad in Colorado,
a bust.
Then he's not going to get a letter recommendation from his next school. So
yeah, if he stays there a year, he'll be lucky. A guy shouldn't be coming in at this point of where he is and do hype videos. That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
Okay, and his advisors must be shit.
But they also do that
or his agent.
In the age of NIL,
I don't give a shit.
Coaches,
a lot of coaches are still old school thinking. And they want to see a kid come in and they go, well, let's get you in some of these hype videos. He should say, I'm not here for that. I'm here to play football. That's the right answer. Oh, where do I set up? Let me comb my hair. Oh, I like the black uniform over the orange and blue uniform. That's bullshit.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
All right. Next topic.
I'm old school.
Okay. Lawsuit. NCAA versus House law case. Major impacts on Seminoles. You added this to the list of topics. The NCAA versus House.
Oh yeah.
What is? I've never heard of this. What is this?
Pull up?
Yeah.
Pull up one of those. Hopefully you'll pull up the first one first. Where's the?
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay, here's the bottom line. I'm not going to read all this, but I will read some of this. Let me read this. Texas A&M athletic director Trave Alberts, who was a pretty damn good football player, by the way, for example, recently told the College Station Eagle schools could be adding $15 million to $20 million to their budgets annually for what he termed new expense category. And it all circles around this current case. The NCAA has been sued by Mr. House, okay? All right?
Yeah.
And this is an antitrust lawsuit.
But who's Mr. House, though? Who's Mr. House?
I don't have all the expertise on that. I'm not an expert, okay? I'm putting in stop valves on my plumbing, okay?
You're great research here.
what I'm telling you is, well, everybody thought the only lawsuit out there was the ACC. This is bigger than the ACC, except for the FSU part. This is one of 4. Come back down. No, this is one of 4 active antitrust lawsuits. That's a big deal, okay? All of which serve as a threat to the NCAA about how athletes are going to be paid. If these things aren't settled out of court, and there probably will be an out-of-court settlement. If not, if the NCAA were to lose, it's estimated it could cost them billions of dollars, which would probably bankrupt them. That's how big this is. So anybody out there who's interested in law, look up House versus NCAA, and you'll get all the details you want. Okay,
Yeah,
and this is
an article on it.
This is huge. Okay, and this is all about athletes, NIL. Can they be paid? Will they be employees, or they won't be? And it involves a lot of things at stake. So that's all I want to say. But this is worth watching.
It says here, like you said, they have until May 23rd to settle. And it sounds like you said, the May 23rd deadline, the settlement would be, what does it say here? May 23rd, hard deadline to accept deal. And the settlement terms would be the NCAA have to pay $277 million per year over 10 years in damages to the conference schools. For conference schools, that will result in a reduction of $1 to $2 million per year in revenue. So that means Florida State, the ACC, would lose additional $2 million per year.
Yeah.
So Florida State would lose even more money in conference
of course.
distribution per year.
The bottom line is, we're not going to get into, we're not lawyers, but I found this fascinating. I recently came across this stuff, and it's huge. Let me say this, then we'll move on to the next topic. This is going to have very long-lasting future impacts on college football. Okay? This is most of the changes that we're seeing in college football today is the result of what? Lawsuits. The NIL was a lawsuit. This wasn't something the NCAA thought was just a great idea and came up at a meeting. They got sued. Yeah. This is all about lawsuits. That's where things start to change. Yeah. Okay? Free agency in baseball many years ago, prior to your birth, for instance, was a guy who was in the major leagues, a guy named Curt Flood, a great outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. He sued Major League Baseball about contracts and free agency and won. And that changed the history of baseball. How do you think the changes took place in the NFL about players? It was lawsuits. And this is the future. Lawsuits are the future, and it will change the structure and how athletes are compensated.
Well, and speaking of baseball, to wrap things up, we'll talk about softball, that is. Women's softball, ranked 15th seeded, is going to be taking on Chattanooga this weekend.
Right or wrong. Should they have been seeded higher or not? A lot of FSU fans thought they got cheated.
I don't think they're as strong as they were last year. Let's
you know why? You know why?
They're younger. They're a lot younger.
Well, mainly they're pitching. Okay?
Yeah, and they're a lot younger. Right?
They have a younger pitching staff. I think they have one ace they can kind of count on, but that's tough.
And they've suffered some injuries, some major injuries to some players over the course of the year. So it's been tough, but they're gonna have the opportunity. You start 0-0 in the postseason, right? You get your just like the NCAA tournament, which is great. In basketball,
you get your opportunity.
You're gonna have your opportunity. Records recite, and you can go out there and play it.
Well, the big question, like we talked about when they were having the good run, when was that, last year? Yeah. When do you pitch your ace? Do you pitch them in the first game of the series, or you hope to get by and pitch them in the second game? It's strategy. But the problem is, too, their bats have been very powerful at times and also a little inconsistent. So it's kind of a rebuilding year for them. But
the good thing is you're hosting you're hosting again, the first kind of round again. So you get that benefit. So hopefully make it out of your first grouping. And if you do, you would most likely meet, you had a great series last year against Oklahoma.
Right.
A really great series watching that last year. So if you can make it out of this table, that would be great. You would most likely match up with a tough Oklahoma team. But once again, we hope the best for the women's softball team. You've battled a lot this year, had a great season. You've won 40 plus games, 45 games this season. We wish them the best. You got a battle in-house UCF. Some good teams, but you have the advantage.
UCF has a pretty good team too.
They have a really good teams, but you're hosted at home. You'll have the hometown support, so hopefully they can make it out, and then hopefully we'll be able to see a great series against Oklahoma in the next round.
Yeah, try to catch it on ACC Network if you can. A lot of those games are going to be
first
on
game. There. Yeah, ACC Network, like you said, 4:30 on Friday. So tomorrow, if you can get off a little bit early, get a drink, enjoy the game. If you're in town, come on by. And then, as you can see here, the schedule winner of game 1 and of game 2 that will be.
They'll have good crowds.
Florida State will play at 3:30 if they win game 2. They'll play at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, I wonder about the weather. You're going to have to watch the weather. We've had some really crazy weather through the panhandle of Florida. So keep your radar up on the phone and your alerts.
And just think about that. Florida State's playing its 23rd consecutive NCAA tournament.
It's amazing.
23rd consecutive. That's just crazy. I don't care. That's hard. Like any program to play in 23 straight postseason.
They're a dynasty.
Is a credit to Coach Alameda in that staff is unbelievable.
And it's just tough. It's tough to find, ace pitchers out there. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. So let's talk about baseball team for a minute. Now they're also in their final weekend of regular season play with it's Georgia Tech. They're playing. They played them today. I don't know if they beat them. Can you see real quick?
Yeah, I think.
Now let me talk a minute while he looks that up. They're playing a 3-game set. They've had pitching challenges too. They've got one good ace, and their bats have been very powerful for most of the season. But up in I think Pittsburgh, they got a great game from their ace, but the bats went quiet and they ended up losing. They lost that series up there 2 out of 3 games, and that was the first series Pittsburgh has won all season in the ACC. Yeah. It was a little disappointing, but Link Jarrett has done a good job rebuilding this team over what he had last year. I think he's the right guy for the job. This is his second year. I think he's doing a great job, and he's going to get better and better. This team has potential if they can get their younger arms to be a little bit consistent now as they go into the regionals. Yep. Okay.
Florida State's up 5-3 in the 8th right now.
Okay. So they're a competitive team. They've got some good solid bats in the 3, 4, 5 holes there. And they got to get that pitching nailed down. Their bullpen has not been what they thought it would be. But anytime you're dealing with a ball, softball, baseball, it's all about the pitching. Even on my softball team, we start off a game, our pitcher walks like 3 guys in a row. My best friend who plays first base, I always look at his eyes. He just turns around and looks the other way because he's disgusted. Get the ball to the plate. Okay? Yeah. All right.
Well, if you're going to be in Charlotte next week, ACC tournament starts on Tuesday. So if you're in Carolina and can go by, they used to host the tournament in Durham, which was nice. But if you're going to be in Charlotte next week, swing by the tournament and enjoy that. Hopefully it's nice weather. But good luck to the Noles this weekend. Hopefully they can sweep Georgia Tech. They're up right now 5-3 in the top of the 8th. So hopefully they can close it out strong and play well next week. But
I think that'll be an interesting thing for them to see how well they do in the ACC tournament there in baseball. Because there's some damn good teams in there. There's some good teams in there. So
100%. Yeah. All right. Okay. I think that's going to do it.
No, we got one more.
Oh, God.
Just a quick comment.
Not on the schedule.
Yeah, quick comment. Please, I've been saying this for a long time. You have too, but I've been saying it a lot on X or Twitter to athletic director Mike Alford. And I know you're working on it. I get it. And you tell me if I'm wrong, KB. Coach Ham, a great gentleman. He's done great things at Florida State, but it's time. He's going to come up for his final year of the contract. I know nothing is being said. It's like the elephant in the room. And AD Alford's not saying anything. They're going to play this contract out. How they play this out is going to be interesting. Coach Ham was at the ACC meetings at Amelia Island. He was there.
Free vacation.
But what do you say? Half the top 3 guys from last year's mediocre team left. Okay,
it's so sad.
Watkins left. He was the gun. He left. So it's a sinking ship. And who they're bringing in are guys that aren't playing other places who hope to have a banner season, shooting a basketball or something.
Program's not good.
It's a dumpster fire. And Mike Alford knows this, but he doesn't have the money now to pay the buyout. I don't know what the buyout is on it. I looked it up. It was several $1 million. And he's going to play it out.
I don't.
They're going to play this out because they're spending money. They're writing checks now.
They just don't care enough about the program to buy it out.
Well,
let's just be honest.
Well, then let's be honest about it.
But what they should be doing is bringing in, setting up a succession plan. They should be bringing in an assistant coach to learn,
that idea.
To set up recruiting, and to say, telling recruits that we're recruiting right now, hey, when Coach Ham retires next year, this guy's going to be the coach. So we can start recruiting the right way, because anyone Coach Ham's recruiting now knows he's not going to be there next year. And that's what all the ACC coaches around him are telling him. Like, this guy that's recruiting you at Florida State, he's not going to be there next year. So why go there? Like, that's if I'm at Syracuse or Duke or Virginia, that's what I'm telling kids who are being recruited by Florida State. That guy's not going to be there next year.
And they have no NIL money. They have no NIL money.
I don't. It's
a developmental program for players elsewhere who aren't getting sufficient minutes to come in, potentially start or get a lot of minutes to make an impression. That's what they have to sell, and hope to go 500 on the season and not just get obliterated, which it could be. It's a real good possibility. It could be a horrible upcoming season for men's basketball.
It will be. All right. That's going to do it. Oh, last thing. They did announce the game times for the Georgia Tech and Boston College game. So the Florida State game in Ireland is going to take place at 12 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be a noon game to start the season, which will be 5 p.m.
local
Ireland time.
Here in the States.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Ireland. 5 p.m. Ireland time, 12 p.m. Eastern in the States. And then the Boston College game, which is going to be the Monday, Labor Day game, prime time on Monday, is going to be at 7:30 p.m. So, yeah. That'll do it. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for liking the video, sharing with a friend. We appreciate your comments, your thoughts, your questions. If you're watching this post live, let us know your comments, especially at the beginning. If you think Florida State, why they may not be getting the credit they deserve from the media, or if you agree, if you think Florida State needs to work on some things before the fall comes. But thank you all again for coming out. We appreciate the support
and the loyalty from our fans.
Yes,
thank you.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Hope you have great weather. And we'll see you very soon.
And hope my shark bite valves hold up. No leaks.
And as always, go Noles, and we will see you soon. And watch some Florida State softball this weekend.
Yeah.
Enjoy, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.